On September 13, 2025, I launched a brand new series on YouTube, The Pursuit for Platinum. The goal of this series is to push myself in Mario Kart World and force me to get better at the game. I anticipated that this series would take multiple seasons due to the pure difficulty and challenge that the series was built upon. Today, I will provide a recap of Season 1 of this series. It goes without saying too much, but a successful season of this series obviously hits the Platinum rank. However, I think a series can be successful even if that is never achieved. All aspects of a season should be valued at equal level, whether that is the beginning, middle, or end of a season. With this said, it is only fair to recognize Season 1 of The Pursuit for Platinum as an objective failure. In fact, since I started doing competitive series for both Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and Mario Kart World, I would attest that this might be the single worst competitive season to have aired. And this includes the fact that Season 3 of the Strive for Silver concluded early, and that this series never truly finished in its original form. The thing is, Season 1 of The Pursuit for Platinum not only just fell short of the goal, but it featured a monumental collapse that lost me 800 MMR across multiple events after hitting gold for the first time. I personally find that this significant downfall argues that there is no realistic expectation that this should ever be considered a successful season, even with the MMR that was regained by the season's end. So what happened in Season 1? Today, let's explore the issues that happened in The Pursuit for Platinum Season 1 and the lessons I truly need to learn going forward. I think it is fair to begin with Mario Kart World's difficulty as a game. In comparison to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Mario Kart World is a more challenging game in terms of its skill. The game requires a ton of practice to get it right, and ultimately, the practice needs to feel comfortable enough for the player to execute fully online. Several tracks in this game require multiple days of practice to get down. A few of the most notable tracks include Whistle Stop Summit, Great Question Block Ruins, and Bowser's Castle. The strategies with these tracks alone require multiple hours of practice in time trials, with hours upon hours of failing. In many instances, it can take upwards of 8 hours of time trials to only shave 0.1 to 0.2 off of a relatively weak time in the beginning. Failure to truly practice these tracks can lead to players falling behind the curve and ultimately struggle to find any form of success. This brings to the interesting topic of front-running. In Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I am comfortable enough to go for practically any strat that I know. In Mario Kart World, however, various strats come with bigger risks. Clearly through my gameplay, myself and others can tell that my lines look not as polished, despite having a relative knowledge of various strats on various tracks. I've discovered that I am ultimately afraid of the risks that can happen if I fail a strat. Failing will not only lose valuable time, but in some instances it becomes unrecoverable. Perhaps the most egregious example of this is the DK Pass wall ride at the beginning of the lap. This is a strategy that I am comfortable with and have good knowledge as to how to execute it properly. However, there are some slight instances on this track where I may miss this strat barely, and it ends up being a time loss and causes me to lose more than half of the positions available in a 12-player lobby. For DK Pass in particular, I could opt to go for the pull strat instead and take the time loss associated with that. But why would I do that when I know how to pull the other option off? This has been a concept I've been struggling with all season. Another example of this problem showing up is using the beginning rail on Airship Fortress. It is very obvious that going for the beginning rail is faster, and it is better to skip that first item set. But if a player has grief items behind you or in front of you entering laps 2 or 3, especially if they are in the second slot, this strat becomes immediately bad as there is nowhere to go. It is also possible that you could be hit off the track, lose several spots, and have a brutally difficult time catching back up. Even very simple strats like this one, unfortunately have high risks. The truth is, across the episodes of this series, when I do offer to front run a track, I can often do it. There have been many instances of this on tracks such as Shy Guy Bazaar, Toad's Factory, Boo Cinema, and Dandelion Depths, just to name a few. There have also been a few other extremely technical courses where the front running has also showed up. But unlike in 8 Deluxe, the front running in Mario Kart World does not happen as often, as the strats are much riskier. Again, this isn't even a matter of time trials. It's a matter of being afraid of the wrong result that is likely to happen. Losing a race due to missing a strat is not something I'm really all about, and sometimes if the time loss is too big, it just feels like it is not worth it, even when the strat itself is. This means the questions about strats is more about becoming comfortable with the uncomfortable, a skill that is honestly unique to Mario Kart World compared to past iterations of Mario Kart games. Something I've noticed this season and across the last several months has been the difference between 12 and 24 player game modes. In this section, I will highlight my thoughts about the differences of game modes. Maybe it is a bit of recency bias, but I'm beginning to learn that I may be better suited for the 24 player game mode over the 12 player game mode. In Season 1 I played 6 24 player events and finished with a 3-3 record. Granted, a 3-3 record isn't ideal, but when broken up further, it explains things a bit better. In the 6 events played, I played 4 FFAs, 1 2v2 and 1 3v3. The 4 FFAs had a record of 3-1, with the one loss being in episode 5 of the season. The 2v2 event wasn't the world's best, and the 3v3 went better than expected, but was still a loss. During the month of January, my competitive team, Velocity, participated in an event called Crossfire, a competitive 6v6v6v6 tournament. Apart from a difficult opening match for me, I played surprisingly well in 24 player, even breaking average in several clan wars. I ended up with several top 3 spots and had the option to have board control of what we could pick. This says a lot to me because in 12 player 6v6, I've struggled to even crack 80 points since joining the team I am on. It is beginning to show in Mogi that the same is true for regular 12 player events. So what is going on? Why am I finding more success in 24 player events? Well, the explanation actually results from how you play in the back in this game. The items that exist in the back of Mario Kart World are designed to help you catch up. Seems like it makes sense, right? But this game has a bit different feel to various items in 12 player than in 24 player. Bagging is a concept that works well in 12 player if done right. If you need to fish for an item, you can drop back and pull what you are looking for. On a track that incentivizes bagging, you may want to slow start or just stop at the first item set to get what you want before progressing. Bagging gives great incentives when you get the items that you're looking for. However, in comparison to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, the items in Mario Kart World feel like they prevent bagging way more than its predecessor. Back in 8 Deluxe, Nintendo started making a shift to prevent players from bagging on tracks by making one of the items similar to an item that you may get in a top spot, like a banana or a green shell. But truly this never prevented the problem. In Mario Kart World, the speed from the items in the back feel far superior. Items like the Mega Mushroom, Golden Mushroom, and Star feel much more powerful to prevent players from staying in the back. Whether this is true or not, I'm not exactly sure and am not really the one to say, but it ultimately does make the bagging game much harder. Let's take the Mega Mushroom for example. This item not only cannot be chained, but it also gives the player a speed boost to catch up. Compared to Mario Kart Wii, I would say that this item isn't just designed to grief people, but it is designed to catch the player up from the back when pulled. I have on many occasions gotten this item paired with a golden mushroom, which would indicate that the game wants me to catch up. The problem is, there are many times that I just don't want to catch up right away. In fact, staying back in 12 player is ideal because of the strategies revolving around the shock. Sometimes it is best to fish for that extra dodge and then start making the run up to the front. My biggest success this season, and a lot of the reason why I hit gold in 12 player FFAs, is because I found my dodge item, ran it up, and then dodged the shock. While a great strategy and one that I should be deploying the most because of its success, it requires the player to be super patient and understand their lines to perfection while also making their coin count increase. The issue then becomes a matter of where the shock will be used, which is the whole luck aspect of bagging. Players use shocks in specific spots, but if a player chooses to use it in a different spot, bagging is practically rendered useless. This then begs the question of catching up early in 12 player. Is this the ideal strategy? To me, the answer is not clear. In some instances, this works. In others, it backfires. But what I do know is this: I've watched enough of these videos back to know that I have incorrectly predicted when to catch up or when to stay back nearly 80 to 90% of the time after I hit gold for the first time this season. The call to make this happen seems to be extremely tough in this game, and once you commit, dropping back does not seem to be a good option. Now let's turn to 24 player. One of my teammates, Zay, provided some analysis that I learned about for 24 player. And once I learned about it, the game mode started making much more sense. 24 player is more so about running than it is bagging. In fact, being in the back for long periods of time can actually punish a player rather than benefit. Oftentimes in 24 player, the player wants to catch up sooner rather than later. This is the best way to think about it. In 24 player, it is better to be target shocked in 4th than it is to dodge the shock in 20th. Well, isn't dodging the shock good? In this case, not necessarily. Dodging the shock in 20th helps the player out only so much. That player is likely to move up a few positions and then end up in the vortex of the track, where a number of grief items are spammed, causing them to lose the positions that they just gained. Whereas being target shocked in 4th puts the player back in a position to pull power items that the game designs to catch right back up with. It turns out the power items in this game, being designed to catch right back up, work really well in 24 player. Staying back doesn't always help when running up is actually more ideal. The faster you reach the front in 24 player, the better the race will be for you. This is to say that the item distribution, to me, makes the most logical sense in a 24 player setting. Catching up is an important part to competitive. The last thing that you want to do is stay back forever. This is why if you get the items you want, using them right away makes the most sense, as the goal is to run tracks and not bag them in this game. Adding to this, since I have played more 24 player events in the last few months, I've begun to realize that this is the feeling of competitive I have missed from Mario Kart World since I started playing. There's just a specific feeling that you have when playing competitive that is indescribable and unmatched to anything. In 8 Deluxe 6v6 Wars, I felt that feeling. Now that I have started playing 24 player more often, I'm beginning to feel the same way. There's something about this format that makes it feel truly competitive. And that's a new revelation I've had in this game. It feels like 24 players is the way that the game was intended to be played. The item distribution makes more sense. The strategies make more sense. The lines that you learn make more sense for the competitive spirit. Heck, one of the things I've been thinking about is why we banned the connected tracks when they are a staple of the game. Sure, I'm not the biggest fan of them either, but to take that away takes away a major factor to this game. Funnily enough, the connected tracks are actually extremely competitive and fun in the competitive 24-player setting. In fact, some of the tracks feel a bit more tolerable, like playing DK Pass backwards. This goes to say that I think 24 players is personally starting to become my preferred way to play the game. And I think that the future of Mario Kart World is probably in the 24-player format. After Crossfire, there seemed to be a surprisingly open response to more 24-player tournaments. As for the pursuit for Platinum, Season 2 will be focused fully on 24-player events. I think 24-player Mogi should be my preferred avenue. My success in this game is certainly in this format. Across Season 1, I felt like my momentum was never fully intact. I had a stretch of time from episodes 14 through 21 where I felt like my gameplay was unmatched. It was undeniably the best gameplay of my time playing Mario Kart World. This one stretch saw a record of 7-2 in the 9 games played. That record is critical for the series, as oftentimes in a short series where less Mogis are played, the longer winning streaks usually help out. Unfortunately, once I hit my Mogi peak of 5,098, which came at the apex of this stretch, things started to crash. At this moment, I entered my worst phase of the game. I made mistake after mistake. Every time I felt like I could catch up, I couldn't. Even in lobbies that I felt like I should be more able to win, I couldn't. Over the 7-2 stretch, I played a ton of 12-player FFAs. I thought playing more of these would keep me up and push me up to the level I wanted to be at. I was wrong. And this is what began the worst moment of this series. After hitting gold for the second time in the season, I went on a 5-game losing streak, crashing down to 4,510. Below where the season even began for me. Losing streaks for this series are by far more consequential, as they last longer periods of time than how most people would normally play Mogi. Since there are typically only 2 Mogis played a week, a 5-game losing streak is essentially a streak that lasts 2.5 weeks. It means that the more losses in a row that occur, the harder it is to break out of it. This is actually the first time I have come across this problem. Generally, my practice for this series has worked. I play one singular Mogi and record it. Then I go in and edit the video, VOD review it personally, and publish it. Every Mogi is one that I end up being critical about, whether it is successful or not. The concept works nicely because it gives me an opportunity to see what I am doing wrong. Back when the Strive for Silver existed in video format, breaks between videos also served as a nice way to calm down, especially after a loss had happened. I've been notorious for going on nasty losing streaks when I keep playing over and over again. In the preseason, I played a slew of Mogis near the end in a short span of time. And let's just say that the 7-game losing streak there is attributed to me just playing too much Mogi. Breaks between videos have served as a nice break between Mogis, and is supposed to also serve as a function of not letting myself get too into it. If I lose 2 Mogis in a row, there's no problem because I'll have a few days rest before going back and giving it a go again. Yet this season of the Pursuit for Platinum saw the same thing that happened in the preseason of Mogi Lounge. Not only was there a 5-game losing streak, but later on there was another 3-game losing streak. For the first time, I discovered that the series design wasn't working. In all honesty, I think that these losing streaks are attributed to something different now. The breaks between them are not long enough. Having to record another Mogi after losing 3 in a row absolutely stinks. My mindset walking into those Mogis typically goes something like this. Today's the day I'm going to break the streak. Great mindset, right? Wrong. The mentioning of the streak at all is causing me trouble, and then I continue to find myself making the same mistakes that my teammates and myself keep asking me not to do. And once I break the losing streaks, I feel good, but not for very long. I find myself still stuck in a difficult situation. Now, I need to find a way to climb out of this hole that I just dug myself into. The losing streaks have created a negative mindset for me, and one that I ought to change. For Season 2, I am planning to make sure that my breaks are lengthy and worthwhile. I feel the need to take a longer break now to reset my mind and get myself back together when Mogis are not going my way. I've had a thought dating back to 8 Deluxe about when will be the right time to hang up the hat. When is the right time to call it quits on Mario Kart once and for all? The truth is, in March, I will be turning 24 years old. Generally speaking, this is around the age that most competitors will quit competitive because of real life activities, hobbies, work, and interests that they want to be a part of. But it only came to a realization to me a bit ago about just how short life truly is. Think about this fact. There are 168 hours in a week. How do we break up our time spent in 1 week? What are the activities that we do the most in that 1 week? For me, I have a 40-hour-a-week job. I spend 1/3 of my day for 5 days at a job I actually really like doing. Then assuming that we get a full night's rest of 8 hours, that accumulates for 56 hours of my life. Right there, I have used a little bit over 57% of my hours in a week. And this fails to include things like eating, doing chores, working for my nonprofit, and so much more. When everything is said and done, the likelihood is that I only have 30 or so hours to work with in any given week. The reason I mention this is because Mario Kart World is a demanding game. The game requires that you put in a significant amount of time to get a significant result. If you want to improve at the game, there are days that you need to put in close to a full days of work. You will need to time trial, you will need to Mogi, you will need to war. The game asks so much out of you for you to give it your best result. After Thanksgiving, I started feeling a little funny about Mario Kart World. I honestly was starting to wonder if this was a game that I even enjoy enough to be spending my time with. The game is so demanding, and there are many interests that I care more about. Around this time, my 150cc team for 8 Deluxe, MDR, was also participating in the Phoenix Cup, which I was playing in. Honestly, returning to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was a blast. The game's mechanics are so smooth, the item system is fantastic, the track variety is amazing. Even the tracks I dislike still feel awesome to play. Heck, I even went back to Lounge for the first time in a while and started enjoying it again. I even am restarting my Strive for Silver series that I had never accomplished because I am so close to my ultimate goal that I've wanted to achieve. Now granted, for 8 Deluxe, it took a long time for me to get the game down. I imagine the same is going to be true for Mario Kart World. But the difference now is this. For 8 Deluxe, I already know the game like the back of my hand. It gives that competitive feel that I love so much. I've also already put in the hours that I need to be successful with this game. I am more in a state of fine-tuning than anything. When I started to truly learn 8 Deluxe, I had all the free time in the world. I was in my last semester of college, which wasn't too bad for me. I also got really into the game when I just barely started the job I have now. And this was also before I was even a leader in the nonprofit that I'm a part of. I had plenty of time and energy to truly build my skill in that game. It's all the reason as to why I am where I am with it. Returning back to 8 Deluxe, it only took a short period of time to really get back into the game. I miss how quickly it was to pick up a game, especially its technical skills. Mario Kart World just feels like it might just be too much for a player who is already getting into the busy years of his life. Retiring from Mario Kart has been a topic that has been on my mind for years. Truthfully, it has been a question that I have been dreading knowing when the yes will come. I know right now that I still have a fair bit left in the tank, but for how long is something that I think myself and others do not know. However, I do think Season 2 of the Pursuit for Platinum will show whether I have it in me to go for Season 3 or not. If the series continues to have the problems Season 1 had, it may be best to reevaluate where I am in my Mario Kart career, as well as where things stand in my personal life. Likewise, it is probably best to figure out if I should stick to the game I know best, and try to personally excel in that game rather than this new one. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, 8 Deluxe is still popular, and many people enjoy the game greatly. This isn't to say that I don't like Mario Kart World. I think the game is fun, but the game is needy, and I'm just not sure if the neediness of this game is something that is worth my time. It's a difficult assessment to make for me right now, and it will be a decision that needs to be addressed at the end of Season 2. When looking back at Season 1, I can only come to one conclusion. It was an objective failure. It failed because of multiple aspects. Things I didn't know about the game yet, and honestly how I felt about the game. It failed in regards to how I built the series. It also failed in regards to my mental and perspective for what the game truly is. However, one thing is for certain. I am going to push my hardest in Season 2. I'm going to give it my all. The thing is I don't want to let this goal down. I think it's worth the push. And while in Season 2, some things have changed to where we're now playing 24 player instead of 12 player, it's going to become a lot more difficult. And I'm wondering if that difficulty will give me the urge to actually push in this game. It felt like after I hit gold, I just gave up. I was wondering if this was just because I felt that this was going to be too easy. But truthfully, it was never too easy. I thought I was going to hit gold in 5 episodes when I created this series. Boy, was I wrong. I wasn't even close. It took me 21 episodes to get there. And then I just gave up. A lot of my VOD reviews show that I need to be more confident. But that confidence is clearly not built in me yet in this game. And I need more time. I probably need more practice. And I need to feel comfortable with the uncomfortable. This season, I'm going to push. Yes, it's going to be in 24 player. Yes, it's going to be much more difficult. Yes, I'm going to play in more challenging rooms. But that's what makes this series good. I am going to improve my skill in a way that's unique. I'm going to challenge myself. I'm going to step up my game. I am ultimately going to make the goal of Platinum happen. I must push for it. In Season 2, I'm looking forward to plenty of 24-player Mokies.